know um, if we have any issues with that. And all right, so let's get started. So once again, I'll introduce John Himmicks, Bruna Viana, and Nicole Hallberg of First Ascent. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Awesome. Thank you, Kate. Super appreciate being here. You guys can probably hear that I'm at the uh, tail end of a cold, fingers crossed. I feel fine, but my voice is checked out. So, Bruna and Nicole are definitely here providing some support and covering fire for me as I jump in and share this. And that's great because they know more than I do anyway. But if you want to jump in, Bruna, we'll just get started.
Yeah.
Uh, so I figured I'll do the quick intro for those that are new friends on the call. We are First Ascent. We're a digital marketing agency here in Wilmington, Delaware. We're 25 folks. We've worked with a few hundred clients over the last 10 years, many of them nonprofits. Many of them I saw on the attendance list. So I'm super excited that we have some existing friends and hopefully make some new friends here today as well and share a little bit about Google Grants and some of the communications work we've done for nonprofits. If you jump one more, I'll introduce myself and then turn it over to Bruna. So I'm John Himmicks. I'm one of the two co-founders of First Ascent. So I like to joke that I'm head dishwasher, toilet changer, and everything else in between. Take care of what has to get done when you're running a small business from a team of two to 25. And I come from an engineering background before doing what I do now and found out that people are much more interesting than machines are and ended up really fascinated by marketing, making that switch, that journey change, almost 12 years ago at this point. Um, Turning over to you, Bruna.
Yeah, thank you. So, hi, I'm Bruna Viana. I'm the design and marketing specialist here at First Ascent. I do a lot of the hands-on marketing and design work, and I've helped a number of clients get access to this very valuable resource that Google offers. So, I'm really excited to talk you through it. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. So, first of all, what is Google for Nonprofits? Google for Nonprofits is a program that's available in over 65 countries. It gives nonprofits free access to a number of products, including the Google Workspace, Google Ad Grants, the YouTube Nonprofit Program, and Google Maps platform. And today we're going to be focusing on the Google Ad Grants. So it provides access to up to $10,000 a month of in-kind advertising towards search ads. So the key term here is search ads. You can only use this money towards search ads. You can't use it for display or for video ads. So the program requirements include being a 501(c)(3) nonprofit charitable organization in good standing with the IRS or a group exempt organization under a nonprofit. You cannot be a governmental entity or organization or a hospital or healthcare organization or a school or academic institution. Google does offer a separate program for schools. It's called Google for Education. So let's talk a little bit about the application process. The first step is to confirm that you meet the eligibility requirements, which we just covered a minute ago. So we can move on to step two, which is to request a Google for Nonprofits account. So you are going to submit an application form on the nonprofits website. So you can go to www.google.com/nonprofits. It's a pretty fast process. It should take about 10 minutes, and you need a few pieces of information, including a Google email account. This one does need to be a Google email. If you don't have one, you can create a dedicated one just to manage this account. Then you're going to need your organization EIN, physical address, a point of contact. This is also an email address. It does not need to be the same one you're using to apply for the program, and it does not need to be a Google email. This one is the main point of contact for your organization. And then you're also going to need a mission statement. So that's going to have to be under 500 characters. So once you submit the application, the next step is to wait for verification. This can take between 2 and 14 business days. You should keep an eye on your email inbox for both the email that you used to apply for the program and the point of contact that you provided to Google. You might get an email from Goodstack. Goodstack is a partner. They partner with Google to verify the nonprofits that are applying for this program. So another tip is keep an eye in your spam folder because sometimes their emails do go to spam. It should be a pretty simple, they might get in touch with you to confirm your email, confirm your You are linked to this organization, and once you're applied for the program, you will get an email that looks something like the screenshot that I shared here on the right, letting you know you've been approved. And then there is a button you can click to activate the products, which takes me to the next step, to activate the individual products. So you can either click on that button that I mentioned on the previous slide, or you can also go directly to the Google for Nonprofits website using the same email you used to apply for the program. And you're going to see the screenshot on the left here with the name of your organization, the verified underneath it. And then you're going to have the option of either managing administrators. You can add more people to the account or activate the products. And that's where you can go to activate your Google Ad Grants. To activate the products, it's pretty simple. For the ad grants, you're going to have to provide the URL to your website and watch a short video and then request activation. And once that's approved, you're good to go. So you know you're eligible for the program, you've applied, you've been approved, you've activated your Google Ad Grants, and now you know you have $10,000 at your disposal every month to use towards search ads. But you might be wondering, what is search ads? And you might hear different terms that refer to the same thing. You might hear SERP, which stands for Search Engine Results Page Ads, or text ads, or SEM, which stands for Search Engine Marketing, or PPC, which stands for pay-per-click. All of these terms refer to the same thing, and for today's presentation, we're going to refer to them as search ads. Search ads are a demand capturing marketing tool that allows ads to show to people when they are actively looking for search terms or keywords related to your services or your organization. So I was feeling like I wanted to see dinosaurs. So I went on Google and I looked for see dinosaurs near me. And I have a screenshot here of the result for my search. And you'll see that the top results have a sponsored above them. That means that they are search ads. And the top result says Delaware Dinosaur Exhibit. So that is an ad that I got because I was looking for dinosaurs near me. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
And
muted, John.
God, I made the novice rookie mistake. No, a wonderful thing about how search ads work, if you think about it, every time you type a phrase into Google and hit enter, well, there's about 14 billion of those searches happening a day. There's different numbers based on different searches, but let's just say there's a lot. And every single time someone hits enter, there's a little auction that's held in the background. And whoever is willing to pay to be at the top of that page, they get an opportunity to be up there and they win that particular auction. Google Grants is what's called a secondary auction. This is an important tidbit. The reason why Google creates this program is because it's the second tier. So anyone who is bidding actual money, they will outbid you, compared to Google's nonprofit grant money. However, 14 billion searches a day means the inventory is pretty endless, and you will be able to get traffic on those various terms. And one thing I wanted to note, this is very important, kind of pro tip for when you're spending your own money in an actual ad account, but also something to know for Google Grants because you have to keep a minimum quality score. Is this concept of quality score? And I have a screenshot on the right-hand side here where you have two placements at the top of the search engine results page. And the top one is generally the most valuable one that's going to get the most clicks. So that should be the most expensive. But in this hypothetical example, I've listed that as going to Chewy for $2.45. And then the one underneath for Petco, which is the second placement, which is less valuable, is going for a little bit more money, $2.50. Now, no one spends any money until something actually gets clicked. Just winning the auction and being on the page, no one spends money for it. But once you click on an ad, someone does pay for that click. And uh, the interesting piece about quality score is that you can actually get a better placement for less money than someone might pay for a worse placement if you have a really engaging website, really good ad, and Google gets good signals. No other advertiser does this. There's not a billboard company that says, we like your design, we're going to give you the billboard for cheaper. But Google does. And that's something that I like to call out whenever we're talking about search, is because paying attention to and fixing poor quality scores. A, if they're really bad, they can get you knocked off the system, and Bruno will talk about the requirements. But B, you generally want a good quality score because you can actually get better results for the same or less money just by improving user experience. And Google's the only platform that does this.
Yeah. And now that we had an intro on what search ads are, we can dive a little deeper into some of the key components of search ads. So the key components include keywords, ad copy, assets or extensions, landing page, audience targeting, geographic targeting, and conversion tracking. And we're going to dive deeper into some of those components. So starting with the keywords. So keywords are basically search terms you want to appear for when people are searching on Google or search engine. So think about what people might be searching for that you want your ads to show up for them. For example, an advertiser who's selling running shoes, they might target keywords such as running shoes, which are the literal name of the product, or sports gear, which is related to that service or that product or the service. Or, for example, an advertiser looking for volunteers might target keywords such as volunteer opportunities near me or ways to give back. So yeah, again, think about what your audience what words they might use to describe your services or what they might be looking for, and how you can get your ads in front of them when they're doing that search. Some elements to consider when you're selecting your keywords include search volume. So search volume is the average number of monthly searches that a keyword gets. It is important because it indicates how popular a keyword is. The higher that number, the bigger is the pool of people interested in it, and the higher the chances for your ads to show. Something else to consider is the difficulty score of the keyword. So that means how hard it is to earn a top 10 organic search ranking for that keyword. It indicates how big the competition is for that particular term. Then you should also consider the cost per click for the keyword. That is how much you pay each time someone clicks on your ad. And like John said, you're going to pay per click. And that's why some people refer to search ads as PPC or pay per click. Usually you'll see keywords that have higher difficulty score, so higher competition, higher search volume, they will have a higher cost per click. Now, this specific metric isn't as important or critical when you have a Google Brands account, because the beauty of it is Google's paying for you. You're not paying out of your own pocket. So you can spend more money per click if it's a very relevant keyword that's going to drive traffic to your landing page. You can include that keyword in the keywords that you're tracking, or yeah, the keywords that you're targeting. Something else to consider when you're choosing your keywords is the match type. So match type is how closely the keyword needs to match what people are looking for. For example, so we have three match types. We have broad, phrase, and exact. Broad match means that your ads might show on searches that are related to the keyword you're tracking. So for example, if the advertiser is targeting the keyword low carb diet plan, their ads, if they're using the broad match type, their ads might show for people looking for carb-free foods or Mediterranean diet books. These keywords don't relate closely to the keyword, but the algorithm identifies them as being related to that topic. Then phrase match means that your ads might show on searches that include the meaning of the keyword you're targeting. So for example, if you're targeting the keyword tennis shoes, your ads might show for people looking for shoes for tennis or comfortable tennis sneakers. But your ads wouldn't show for someone looking for tennis store, because that, although it's related, it's not, it doesn't include the meaning. It doesn't have the same meaning as the keyword you're targeting. And then you have the most restrictive match type, which is exact. So that means your ads will only show on searches that have the same meaning of your keyword. So if you are targeting the keywords shoes for men and someone's looking for men's shoes, your ads might show. But if someone is looking for shoes for boys, your ads wouldn't show, because boys are not the same exact thing as men. So my advice here is look for a balance between all of these metrics, a healthy balance between looking for keywords with good search volume, difficulty score, and then again, the cost per click here isn't going to be the biggest factor. But just finding a healthy balance when you're working on a list of keywords that you want to include in your campaign.
Bruna, I could jump in with a quick example here. Is we had a
Mhm.
client years ago that sold test prep advice for physician assistants. So we went in and saw that they had a lower quality score on a term that was PA test prep, which to them meant physician assistant test prep. We went in and Googled it. Every other search result for that Google was about the Pennsylvania driver's test. So it was not what they thought it was. That's what they saw from the poor score, and they were spending a lot of money trying to advertise for a keyword that made sense to them, but they never double checked it, and it wasn't actually what people were looking for. So while the technical pieces about how to do match types and how to make sure that you're appropriately broad or narrow are great advice and great ways to optimize. Sometimes it's really as much as just start Googling as if you're the customer or the client or the donor and make a note of those things that you're Googling and start there. And Google will actually help provide lists of all other keywords if you give them a few seed keywords to get started with. So while we do want to show this is what the balancing act is, I don't want anyone to feel like it's too complex to get started. You can certainly get in there, Google a few things to get going.
It's another really good check against trying to match for keywords that include like industry jargon, as opposed to like what you call something because you work in the industry, as opposed to what your audience actually calls it. And sometimes those will be getting results, but it's because other, your competitors or, other folks that are searching those things, they're not looking for your services, they're looking for something else. So it's a good check against those kinds of things as well.
Definitely. And this brings me to some tool recommendations. So like John mentioned, good old Google search. It's free. It's a great way to find what people are looking for, what results come up when you look for your services. There's another really good free tool that is embedded in the Google Ad account itself. It's called Google Keyword Planner. You can add seed keywords there and you can find other keyword ideas. Google also, once you start running the ads, Google will constantly provide you with a list of search terms that your ads showed up for. So it's a list of like, here's what people are looking for when they got your ads. So it's a great way for you to find new keywords or to find negative keywords, which is one of my tips is take advantage of negative keywords, especially when you're targeting broad type keywords. So Google will tell you this is what people are looking for when they got your ad. And if you don't want your ads to show up for that type of search, you can right there mark them as a negative keyword, and that avoids your ad to showing again for those type of keywords. There are some other tools that are paid, some tools that allow you to spy on competitors. So if possible, take advantage of that type of tool as well, looking at what competitors or other services, not necessarily competitors, but other services in the field, how they are advertising, what types of keywords they're targeting. Those are all great ways to find new ideas or new keywords to add to your marketing campaigns. And the third tip is just ties back to everything I said, just routinely checking for the reports that are available on your ad account and finding ways to just make tweaks to bring you closer to your goals. So another piece that makes the search ads is the ad copy. So the keywords we talked about, but they are like in the background. People don't really see necessarily unless they're spying on you. But the ad copy is the part of your ad that's going to be visible to the public. So that's what they're going to see when they're searching on Google. So I brought back my example of the Delaware dinosaur exhibit ad on the right, and we can see some pieces that are forming that ad. So we have the headline, which is the clickable part of the ad. You can add between 3 and 15 headlines to your campaign, and each one can have up to 30 characters. Then underneath the headline, you have the description, which Each description can have up to 90 characters, and you can add between 2 and 4 descriptions. And additional pieces are called assets or extensions. There is a vast list of assets that Google allows you to add to your campaign, but in this specific ad, 2 extensions came up when I got that result. One is called site links. So site links are literally links to pages on your site. They're really great ways to highlight other key pages that you want to drive traffic to. They literally take more space on the page, so they make your ad larger. You take more real estate, so there's more chances for people to engage with your ad. It gives you more visibility, and they're also a requirement for Google Grants. Each campaign on Google Grants should have at least 2 site links. And then the other extension that we're seeing here is the image extension. Although these are search ads, Google allows you to add visuals too. So it's a great way to also highlight your services if photography can, amplify your message.
So you might have thought 15 headlines, that's a lot. And what Google allows you to do is write up to 15 30-character headlines, and then Google does a highly technical version of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks, and can combine up to 3 of those headlines to create the thing that's actually seen on the ad. So it's a pretty unique copywriting challenge because we don't know exactly what headlines are getting combined and in what order. Those are algorithmically determined. So the copywriting challenge is to write a series of options that would look good next to each other in any order, and convey what you want to convey. And now the examples here are again, a setup for the Delaware Museum of Nature and Science as a membership style ad. So it has a little bit of tailoring to it, but you can imagine if you get tighter and tighter and tighter into your targeting, then it can become a challenge to write, 15 headlines that could be mixed and matched, and descriptions can be mixed and matched a little bit as well, for us to be able to actually create ads that Google would go and put into place. Google has deployed a few AI tools to make this a little easier for folks that are just getting started, but it is something that this is your chance to influence what Google's going to show when someone actually searches for the thing that you want them to click on. And we have to just give them a bunch of options and test and see which ones work.
Yeah. So some other tips for when you're writing your ad copy is before you start working on your ad copy, do your keyword research first. That's going to give you really valuable insight on what people are looking for, and that can guide your copywriting process. And then definitely include keywords on your headlines and descriptions. Whenever possible, of course, whenever it makes sense, keeping in mind what John just said about making sure everything works together in any order. But by including keywords in your ad copy, you're really giving people, people are searching for something and they see reflected on the ad copy. It shows to them that that is relevant, and it encourages them to take the next action, click on your ad and go to your website or what landing page you want them to go to. So I have another example here on the right. On the top, I have another search I performed. So I was looking for ways to give back to the community. So I searched for ways to give back to the community, and I got an ad that the first headline says give back to the community. So that to me tells me that they included that keyword in that ad copy. It encouraged me to click on that ad. And once I got to the landing page, I got information about donations. So that brings me to another point, which is to make sure your landing page, so you make sure your ads include keywords and reflect the messaging in your keywords, and make sure your landing page reflects the message that you are including in your ads. So everything is communicating, everything is aligned. For me, when I got to the landing page, I had clear information about where donations had gone through their 2023 impact report. So it told me like, this is where my donation might be going. Also all the ways that I'm able to donate and to give back to the community. So making sure your landing page copy aligns with your ad copy. It's not only really good to give people a good user experience, but also it tells Google's algorithms that everything is aligned, everything is relevant, and it helps you increase your quality score, which John mentioned in the beginning. And that's really important to show your ads to more people. It's really a feedback loop. The higher the quality score, the more people are going to see your ads, and more chances that people are going to have to engage with your ad and take action. Some other pieces that are important for search ads can be grouped in a few topics. So the first one is who are you talking to? So that is going to guide your decision when it comes to geographic location targeting, age and gender, people's interests, household income, if that is important for your cause or your marketing goals. Something else you might ask yourself is where will people go after they click on my ad? So that is going to be your landing page, and what actions you want people to take from your campaign. So that could be donations, ticket sales, email signups, calls. So that really will be up to you and what aligns with your organization's goals and objectives. Now that we kind of went through a fast intro and um, on search ads and what pieces make for search ads, I wanted to talk a little bit about how you can structure campaigns. First, I have a flow chart so we can visualize the structure and how things come together in the ad account. So first, you have the campaign. That's the utmost level. The campaign is where you're going to set your geographic targeting, your budget, the duration of your campaign, so start and end dates. Then below the campaign, you have your ad group level. So ad groups are usually grouped by themes. So let's say you're running a campaign for donations. One ad group could be focused on individual donations, where the other ad group could be focused on corporate donations, for example. The ad group is also where you're going to add your keywords because you want your keywords to be closely aligned with the topic of that group. And under the ad group, you're going to have the individual ads, which is what we just walked through in this presentation. But to make things a little easier to visualize, and also, I don't know how many people here have taken a look at Google Ads in the back end. I wanted to give you a look behind the scenes. So I have a few recordings just so we can get familiar with things. If you've ever been on a Google Ads account before, the Google Grants account looks exactly the same. It doesn't have anything different. The only difference is that you're gonna be able to get higher budgets, and then you're going to have to meet the restrictions that I'll talk about in a few minutes. But just a quick view, this is the ad account, and when you click on the top left on the plus, that's where you go to create a new campaign. And here in this recording, you see me selecting the ad objective or the campaign objective. I selected website traffic because I wanted people to go to the website. This is where also I'm going to be able to choose the campaign type. So I'm going to choose search, and then on the campaign settings level, like I said, that's where I choose my location targeting. So I'm choosing United States, the language, and some audience segments options there as well. Then once you're done with the ad group settings, then you get to also on the ad group settings, you enter your keywords, and then you get to the ad level. And that's where you're gonna enter the URL to the landing page, all your headlines. So you'll see that there is a field per headline, your descriptions, and then you can also add a few of the assets or extensions I talked about. So you can enter your business name, you can add your logo there. You can add site links there as well. And finally, I wanted to just go through the requirements to stay compliant with the program. So some of the requirements include ad performance. So you're going to be required to keep a minimum of 5% click-through rate each month. Click-through rate is the percentage of clicks your ads get over the number of impressions that they get. So it's how many people are clicking on the ad after they see the ad. So it's an indicator of ad engagement, and you should keep at least 5% each month. Then you also need to track at least one conversion per month. You should have proper location settings, and you should have at least two ad groups per campaign and at least two ads per ad group. And some other limitations include you can't use single word keywords, so news, weather, or anything too overly generic is not permitted. And also, you should remove any keywords with a quality score of under 1 or 2. And the way you can see the quality score for keywords is Google will provide reports. If sometimes if the keyword doesn't have enough traffic, it's not going to have any quality score and you don't have to take any action. But if you do see a keyword with a quality score of 1 or 2, you can just quickly pause it. If you ever fall out of compliance, Google will give you an alert and they might deactivate your account if you fail to become compliant, but that's not a permanent decision. They'll give you a chance to fix anything that needs to be fixed, make changes, and then you have a chance to get your account reinstated. But that was it from me. I wanted to leave the floor open for any questions or comments or anything. Thank you so much.
Very much a deep dive in 30 minutes, so hopefully useful and not too overwhelming, but we're here to answer clarifying questions if it was.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Bruna. Can you pull down your screen? And then let's open up the floor. Awesome. That was fantastic. I just learned a lot of things that I didn't know about Google Grants. It seems like an incredible resource that probably some people don't know about. And so thank you guys. That was a really comprehensive overview. And we will be sharing the slides as well that can be downloaded from the DCF webpage, or we'll share them by email after this presentation as well. So let me open up the floor. You can either put your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand and come off of mute and ask verbally. Let's see what we've got. Lots of thank yous. This was very insightful. Great information. Any
Okay,
other
well,
questions?
if anybody's typing, one note I can share to give you guys a minute is that one of the other products that Google for Nonprofits offers is it just gives you either free or discounted emails. So if you are a Google
Yeah,
organization and you're a nonprofit, at minimum, apply so that you can get some money off the spend on having email addresses through Google. Microsoft has a similar program, but not so much on the grant side. Um, but yeah, even if you just apply for that and you say you have 10 people and it's $5 each every month for email, you can at least get that covered for free.
that's great. I didn't know that either. Okay, so we've got a question from Caitlin at the Delaware Center for Horticulture. We've been having trouble navigating to the search terms. Can you share how to navigate to those?
So, Caitlin, do you mean when you're like doing research or when you're actively running campaigns? Like where are you in that you're trying to navigate? Actively running them. So the screenshots that Bruna shared, Google's been changing what they call it, but there's kind of a easy mode and expert mode like set up in the back end when you go into ads.google.com. And if the screens that Bruna shared didn't look like what you're seeing, you might be in the easy mode. And that's where Google tries to make it easier by kind of hiding some of that information. So I would suggest I think it's either the top right or top left corner, there'll be an area to switch into like a professional view or expert view or something. They keep changing the name of it. But that's where you'll be able to jump in and be able to see where the keywords actually are. Because it will show you not just the ones that are being targeted, but the ones that you've actually been shown in searches for. Because of, say, for example, broad match, one targeted keyword can make 20 matches. So it'll show you which ones you've actually, your ads have been shown for. And that's where you can start finding negative keywords too, if you're, matching for something that you don't want to be matching for.
Great. Okay. Caitlin, sounds like that answered your question with the thanks. And then we have a question. What do they mean by in-kind search ads?
So that's just that the Google is allowing you to spend $10,000 of money that they did not give you first, right? So if you anything you set up in Google Grants, there's a maximum spend. It's actually really hard in our experience to hit the full 10,000 a month, but you can get a good two, three, four, five, thousand of spend that Google's just not going to invoice you for. So it's not a grant in the way that they write you a check and then you spend it back. It's just in kind in that they're accounting this fictional money, but it's not actually changing hands.
That's great. Very helpful. Chandra, I saw your hand go up and I just want to make sure did you have a question or
I
was that
did
an
have a
accident?
question.
Okay,
The question
go
was
ahead.
about the 10,000 spend. So, but I was like, is that having not purchased Google Ads before, I didn't know if that was like, oh, that'll go like that. I didn't know if that sample like $2.35, $2.50. I was trying to make sense of it, but it's good to know that that's a really good budget to work within. And then I just had a question about the competitiveness. So as long as we meet the qualifications, this sounds like it's offered across the board to any nonprofit that meets the qualifications has access to this resource.
Mhm. Yep. And we've gotten a bunch of people approved over the years. We've also reinstated some folks that, through no fault of their own, their accounts had gotten hacked and they've got out of their compliance for very ridiculous reasons, but we got them back on and cleaned up. So you can indeed get it. That's a great note about perspective. A lot of the keywords that we bid on, even for paid accounts, are in the 50 cents to 250 per click region. Some of the most expensive keywords, if you're like bidding on legal terms for like a mesothelioma lawsuit, that can be $500 a click. Most of us do not play in that territory. We play in the like $1, $2 per click. So $10,000 or even just $1,000 or $2,000, that can be another 2,000 people interested in or on your website that you didn't have to pay for.
That's amazing. It really is. Okay, well, I'm going to keep looking for questions, so please raise your hand or drop it in the chat if you have one. One question that I had was, how does is the setup automated? Like, does it just roll over and every month your $10,000 starts anew? Do you have to do something to kind of reset it every month, or how does that work?
Well, as long as you're in compliance, it keeps rolling as long as you have the campaigns running, and they can just keep going month after month. Especially, we recommend people for Google Grants that you set up kind of the baseline campaigns that you always want running.
Yeah,
And then you can add things to do particular events or things like that. But those you don't want running after the event's done, right? So you want to
right.
go in and turn it off. But otherwise, if you have the baseline set, you can just hit go. And as long as you're in compliance, which even that like 5% click-through rate is actually reasonably achievable. So we don't have a lot of difficulty keeping folks in compliance as long as you're running a decent number of campaigns, decent number of ads.
Great. And the tracking that's required, all of that's tracked by the website itself, right? Like when you're signed up, it's going to track your click through, it's going to track anything else that's required for compliance. Okay, great.
Mhm. Yeah, there's more data that you could get as a marketer if you add in certain pixels and events, etc. But then we're getting into like technical and optimization. But just the basics, Google will take care of on its own.
Great. What an amazing resource to really drive a lot of traffic to your website. And I love that it's so targeted too that you have to be targeted in terms of your goal. Like you have to be specific, right? What are you trying to achieve with these campaigns? And that's really helpful regardless of what we're advertising and where. But that's really interesting to see. Other questions for the First Ascent team? Okay. Well, I don't want to keep us all on longer than necessary. So let me say to all those who attended, I will be sharing with you a very, very brief survey. Please tell us how you felt this went. In terms of whether you learned new things, whether you think you'll apply this to your work. And also, we always ask if you have other topics that you'd like to learn about that we could source content and webinars for. So if you think of something else that's a skill or a tool that you know might help you adapt to the current moment, please feel free to note that in the survey as well. Great, good point by John. It's been available for years, but it's gotten easier to use. That's awesome. And so they did very kindly offer to field questions if you all have them. So I see Bruna and John's email addresses in the chat, and you all can reach out to them. That's very kind of you to offer. And we will be sending out again this recording as well as the PowerPoint slides, so you'll be able to see all the detail in terms of the steps you need to take to get this set up. Any other questions before we close? Well, let's all express our appreciation. Thank you so much to the First Ascent team. That was really fantastic. And it's incredibly generous of you to share your time and your knowledge. And I'm sure many people learned a whole lot from this presentation. So thank you so much for all that you do and for your support of nonprofits. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Have a
everyone.
good day, everyone. Thank you so much.
Take care, folks.